Dog Nation, Jackson, Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some off-season nonsensical Steelers talk. The NFL schedule has been released. The Steelers know they're going over to Ireland to play the Vikings. Have an early bye too. Ugh, that's not a fun thing. I believe it's a week 5 bye. Not what you want to see. Preseason games, we play the Buccaneers, Panthers, and the Jaguars to start it. So Jaguars, Buccaneers, Panthers. Preseason, who really cares? Not a whole else lot going on in Steelers land. Not a whole lot of signings, releasings, and it's just me here today. So we'll try to keep it short. We'll try to keep it sweet. We'll try to keep it just NFL schedule related. So we talk about 3 preseason games, and we'll talk about early season predictions. I predict the Steelers will go 8-1 like I do every year with Mike Tomlin because that's what the standard is. It just feels be that average team. So how we get there this year will be unique. But let's get to the start of the regular season. Steelers start on the road at the Jets. I think that's going to be a loss to former Steeler quarterback Justin Fields. Week 2, Seattle comes into Pittsburgh. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be the answer there, especially with no DK Metcalf, and I think we get a win there to put us at 1-1. Week 3, we go to New England. I just not a believer in that team. That brings us to 2-1 at that point. Then we travel overseas to play the Vikings, and well, the Vikings might not have conquered all of Ireland. I do believe they conquered areas near Dublin, so we'll go ahead and say the Vikings conquer the Steelers in what is considered a Steeler home game, but it's the weird game, so really doesn't matter. That puts us down to 2-2, as by that point, I think J.J. McCarthy is in line with what they want going on there. Week 5, or after the bye, we come back and we have Pittsburgh, so it'll be week 6. We have the Browns coming to Pittsburgh. I think we beat the Browns there. That moves us up to 3-2. The following week, we go to the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to have a bounce back year due to the defense not being the worst in the league and the offense still being what it is. That puts the Steelers down to 3-3. Following week, we host the Packers. And I think Jordan Love just kind of goes off. That puts the Steelers down to 3-4. But don't worry, things are turning up nicely. The Colts, with their absolute lack of quarterbacks, but 2 guys who can run the ball well in Richardson and Daniel Jones, whoever ends up winning that. I think the Steelers have a nice win there at home against the Colts. That puts us back to 4-4. The following week, we go to the Chargers. And I don't know why, but I feel like this is the game because there's a lot of ex-Steelers over there. There's a lot of known things. And I just feel like the Steelers seem to luck out when we play the Chargers, and I think we will again. I think Herbert probably is slightly banged up. Steelers win there. That moves us to 5-4. The following week, we host the Bengals. And, well, you know what? We need to split the season series with the Bengals. So let's go ahead and get that. That's 6-4. Following week, we go to the Bears. That's a loss to the new regime up there with Caleb Williams having an MVP caliber year. That drops the Steelers to 6-5. The following week, we host the Bills. Don't think we have an answer for Josh Allen. That's 6-6. The following week, we go to Baltimore. King Henry just puts a crown on his head again. That puts the Steelers at 6-7. But then we get a host of Dolphins. Tua's hurt again, another concussion. That puts the Steelers to 7-7. Then we get to go ahead and go to the Lions. And, well, Jared Goff has that 4-interception game. And we get to beat the Lions. That puts us at 8-7. Then we go to Cleveland, and, well, we don't lose to them, but we don't beat them. It's a tie in Cleveland. That puts us at 8-7-1. The final week of the year, the Steelers really need to beat the Ravens at home, but the Ravens are playing to hold off the Bengals in the division, and the Ravens beat the Steelers, dropping Pittsburgh to 8-1. There was a look at every week who we play, where we play them. Am I for absolute no reason to be predicting the results this early, prediction of the results. They might vary, but I have a good feeling the record I picked here is what it's going to be for me in my prediction for the season. I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. Unless they add a big time number 2 wide receiver, you're going to see the same boring offense out there. And defensively, I do think things are moving in a good direction. I just don't think they added what they needed yet. I still feel that number 1 corner is a need, or number 2 corner. You need to have 2 solid ones. I don't think Slay's the answer. I don't think Minka's worth the money we've been paying him. Having a great season last year out of Elliott. I don't know if he can repeat. And more importantly, expecting both Cam Hayward and TJ Watt to be healthy for a full slate of games again, I think is a big, big, just unneeded risk that the Steelers are taking with their lack of really next level players. I'm not going to say NFL caliber, because there's plenty of NFL caliber players out there, Dean Lowry type guys who they deserve spots in the NFL, but they're not going to become playmakers, right? And the lack of guys who can become playmakers is the problem. I really feel that's why you need young guys who are unknowns that could push it up there and push to the next level. But the Steelers prefer these known quantities, and they're known to be meh. And that's just where we are. I don't think the offense takes a step forward. I think they take a step backwards, mainly in the running game. And I think it's mainly due to the offensive line's just utter struggles. I don't think you're going to see a great season out of that offensive line. Last year, it played decently well at the beginning of the year, which is why we got things going. And we don't have a quarterback who has mobility to bail us out like we did early year. Justin Fields, at least currently on the roster. And I don't know. Maybe it's the type of season where you see Will Howard by the end of the year, unless it's Aaron Rodgers here. In which case, I still think the record will be very similar. I mean, he wasn't a needle mover for the Jets, who had better receivers than we have. But who knows? Let's hope for good things. Let's hope for something crazy. Let's hope Aaron Rodgers catches lightning in a bottle. As I always say, based off this team's talent, I could see them finishing anywhere between what would it be now? 5-12 if they don't add anybody else. They could also go 12-5 because that's just the way they are. Somewhere in there, I like to settle in the middle, always 8-1. But I do not see how this team wins a playoff game unless they face an opponent with injuries going into the playoffs as it stands. But really fun to have the schedule, get to see what games you might want to go to. If you're a diehard, I like to travel internationally to watch football, go ahead, go catch the Ireland game against the Vikings. That's going to be awesome. I'm not going to disagree there, but not my cup of tea to travel to another country to take in American football. I mean, if I'm going to go over to any part of the UK, you best believe I'm watching football, right? American soccer. I'm going to go watch one of them fun teams that's something to do over there. I don't want to go over there to watch something I can watch in my backyard, Just not my cup of tea, but if it is what you love, go do it, enjoy it, and have a great time. So this week's list, I guess we'll go with my favorite Pittsburgh Steelers opponents. I will do my top 3 favorite teams to watch the Steelers play. At number 3 is the Cleveland Browns. Just it was a rivalry that's always been dominated from when I was a Steelers fan, right? Since they came back and I can really remember. And knowing for Browns fans that are local and just watching every year get to put them in their places, even with Roethlisberger out there. And then recently, the Browns beating the Steelers in the playoffs has really made it, whether or not these two teams are the teams in the AFC North anymore, it's really Baker Mayfield with that win brought back this rivalry into something that matters a little bit again. And it's why it comes in at number 3 for me. Number 2 is just a pure heartfelt thing. I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're my number 2 team. I loved watching them win Super Bowls in the early 2000s. Man, Mike Allstott, Warren Dunn, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Regan Upshaw, Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks. I mean, the list of just awesome Buccaneers players. Keyshawn Johnson, Michael Pittman running back in there for those times. Warwick Dunn. All those guys. Loved watching them. Just They have to be number two for me in terms of opponents for the Steelers to play as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Went to a couple games against the Buccaneers, including a Tom Brady one, I believe. It's it's a fun thing to see. It's a team I enjoy watching play. So they're the number two opponent for me to watch the Steelers play. And number one, without a doubt, the most entertaining games because it always seems to be important and there always seems to be big moments, whether it's by the Steelers or by this team. And of course, is the Baltimore Ravens, the team that is the original Cleveland Browns, right? The team that is the rival for the Pittsburgh Steelers since they became a franchise. The legacy, the players, the moments, Roethlisberger sideways nose, Suggs out there, Antonio Brown with this stretch. I mean, just uh, you know the game's going to be tight. You know the game's going to be close. It doesn't matter if one of the teams is on a down slope, one of the teams is on an up slope. You know the games are going to be close. If the Steelers go on a 6-game run, you feel like the Ravens are going to come back. I mean, Harbaugh, Tomlin, they just I'd say more so Mike Tomlin builds his team specifically for this Ravens game, but don't think that the Ravens don't build a physical brand of football because of what the Steelers do either. These are teams that have very similar styles, very similar setups. You see players interchanged all the time. More so Pittsburgh picking up Ravens recently, but it used to be the other way around as well. I mean, just great players on both sides of this that have great moments. New set of them making their own moments. Hopefully, this is the start of whatever Steelers quarterback stops Lamar Jackson from looking like he's going to start a little run against the Steelers. Hopefully, it stops this year. But that's my number three moment. My number one in my top three. Those are my top three Steelers opponents to play that I enjoy watching. Let me know who you like to watch and if there's a specific reason, a specific play. Like for me, the Immaculate Extension, as we like to call it now, the Antonio Brown winning the division play, is one of those moments that just sticks out to me as absolutely amazing. Maybe there's just a team you saw him play once and you thought it was the greatest game ever. Let me know. It's awesome to hear. Love to hear all that stuff. And, we have a little fun out here. Time for a shout out since I missed. Well, since I did on Friday and wasn't really thinking, we'll do a throwback shout out. Shout out to all the mothers out there for last week being Mother's Day. And since I did the show before Mother's Day, I completely spaced that's what my shout out should have been. So this week, we'll do the belated shout out, so to speak, to all the mothers out there, specifically, of course, my mother and my wife for, being the mother to all my kids. Really cool moments in my life that I got to experience due to mothers in my life, coming into the world and getting to produce life that came into the world. So, really cool. Have to give a shout out there. Sorry it's belated. Please don't hate me too much about it. Now I gotta let you know, I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger is the awesome YouTube channel where you get this immaculate content. Hopefully we get Gingy back next week. Then, if not, I know for a fact Laskers will be in studio, so I can probably force him to at least have to get on and partake in an off-season episode. So look forward to that. Donk Nation, Jackson Jennings, Steelers Nation, love y'all. Wave 'em if you got 'em. Here we go, Steelers.